Hi, I'm Michael Perry. I'm here in my apartment surrounded by all of my favorite houseplants. I've been growing houseplants since I was very young, so I'm going to give you a few of my little tips for success today, from watering through to light, feeding, everything you need to know. So when it comes to choosing your houseplant, you need to get the right plant for the right room. So we need to talk about light. So a lot of plants we labeled up as needing bright indirect light, and that is really not in front of the window, but just behind. So somewhere still well lit, but not with sun on it all day. The other extreme is where you have cacti, succulents. They need to be in as much light as possible, so put them right in front of the window as well. So hopefully that kind of clears up lighting for you and the fact of which plant you can put in which room. Okay, so watering. What do? Well, I put a reminder on my phone once a week to water my houseplants, but not to water them, to actually review if they need watering. So that time, usually on a Friday afternoon, I'll walk around all of my houseplants, see if the surface of the compost is dry, and if it is, then I will generally give that plant a little bit of water. Not too much, because very often, if your plant is unhappy, when the plant is too dry, it wilts. When the plant is too wet, it also wilts too. Much easier to revive a plant that is too dry than a plant is too wet. So go easy on the watering. Your plant will let you know what it needs when. And also, as a general rule of thumb, your plants need less water from September through to, say, April as well, because of course the growing season is April through to September. Okay, so feeding, this goes hand in hand with watering. You don't need to feed during those autumn and winter months. So really feed with the growing season. So that is the end of April through to September. And you can use a good houseplant feed. We've got at QVC Nature Safe, which is an organic range of houseplant food. So you can use that really, really easily, or look out for any proprietary fertilizer. As long as it's good, high in nitrogen and potash, you're gonna have lovely, shiny houseplants. And if they're flowering houseplants, they're going to be big and bountiful as well. Now, everyone gets into a panic when it comes to repotting their houseplants. Actually, you don't need to repot them that often. If you do feel you need to repot your plant, then you do that in the spring, and don't put a tiny plant in a big container with lots of cold compost. Only go up one increment size at a time when it comes to repotting. Use good, fresh, peat-free houseplant compost as well, and your plants will be super happy through the season. But try to avoid repotting in the winter months when it's a lot cooler, because the plants aren't necessarily in their growing phase. So do it in the spring, just before they get going. Now, if anything goes wrong with your houseplants, maybe you've got a few little bugs, or maybe you see some of those little fruit flies that kind of dart around on the top of the soil. Well, first of all, any bugs, you can always use a solution of good soapy water at first defense. If you've got any little fruit flies or kind of fungus gnats, it's always a good idea to have a layer of gravel on the top surface of the soil, or regulate your watering better, because those problems like fungus gnats only come when the compost is over moist as well. Any yellowing leaves, really natural to have yellow leaves on your plants, especially towards the base of a stem, because they're just shedding the old foliage to make space for the new as well. So it's not your fault, don't worry, and it will fall away naturally, or you can simply pull it away too. Why not have a look on QVCUK.com to find their comprehensive range of houseplant care products? But you might also be tempted by a few new houseplants at the same time.